Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. Today we're remembering the day in 1991 when Terry Waite was released. You remember he'd been incarcerated, kept as a hostage by terrorists in Beirut, and he'd been in isolation for a lot of the time. And he said, among other things, that this experience could never take away from him his soul. And it led me to thinking about what the soul is. And in 1901, Duncan McDougall decided to see whether the soul had any physical aspect to it. So he took the weight of people who were dying and then took their weight again just after they had died to see if there was any difference, because he assumed that the difference would be the weight of the soul, which he then surmised had left the body. And he discovered that the difference in the two weights was 21 grams. Well, of course, it's a thoroughly discredited piece of scientific research, and of course could only be done on a very limited sample, but it showed the need to try and find some explanation of what this word means. But for me, it has obviously nothing to do with anything physical. It describes something much more spiritual, something invisible. It's often thought of as something which is what remains when our physical body dies, and certainly in the tradition of many Eastern religions, it's what then is reincarnated in a different being, is given a different body, but the essence of your physical being, whether you're a human being or an animal or even an insect, is this soul which only finds its fulfillment when it is united with the great soul, with Atman. The Hebrew tradition, the one that Jesus inherited, didn't have any concept really of the soul and the body being separate things. The human being was seen as a whole, and so it's somewhat surprising really that subsequently in the Christian tradition we've kind of inherited this idea that the soul leaves the body when you die, and that's what goes to heaven. That's not biblical at all. The biblical idea from the New Testament is, such as information as we're given, which isn't a lot, is that when you die, body and soul together, and the whole of you is recreated in a new being, which is what enters the afterlife. But all this, and of course there's a lot more that could be said about the soul, but all this leads me to think that really in the end, searching for some religious explanation of it isn't quite the point. The soul, I think, whether you're a Christian or a believer of any other religion or not a believer at all, really expresses who we are. It's a word we use to describe the very essence of our being. And when Terry Waite said they couldn't take his soul away, what they meant was they would never stop him being Terry Waite. He would still be in essence who he was. And so today I'm just going to treasure my soul, my being, my very essence, who I am, and to try and make sure that all that I say and do and all my actions reflect that basic fact of my reality, that I don't do an injustice and behave differently from who I really am, or say things that don't express who I really am. Trying to be true to myself, I think, is a great art, and something which today I'm going to give a bit of focus to.